I haven't played in so long, so I have no idea how this is gonna go. I also haven't streamed in so long, so I don't know how this is gonna go. I haven't played in so long, so I have no idea how this is gonna go. Awesome. I've got audio coming through the stream. This is cool. Oh, good. Everyone's in Discord, so let's pop into Discord. Hello.
Hello.
Only slightly.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that should be fine now, I think.
Yeah, okay, now good?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good.
Alright, Andre, you in here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Alright, you wanna make a lab?
I can make a lab. Do you want me to make a con, or what do you want from the lab?
Yeah, maybe 2 cons and some scouts or something or whatever.
Okay, I'm gonna go core, by the way, so if you want fleas, I can switch to arm, but...
No, do whatever.
Okay.
If you want, Ragnar, I can build you 2 fleas if you want to micro them.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, sure. Who are we missing in here? Dolphy? Or Adolf, rather?
I don't think he'll come though. Could ask him.
He has been asked very nicely.
Hey.
Hey.
Oh,
Hello.
this is someone else.
Yep, just grin walked.
Just
We're
a spy for the
Trying to
specs.
get Adolf in here.
Okay. Can I open with 1 AK? Cool.
Whatever works for you, I trust you.
You've received new units.
Oh, it's broken.
First flea and second in a second. Got it.
Okay, these are your 2 cons, and then I'll make a couple AKs.
Super mid, core twats, and mini ship, top and mid.
Seriously, I might be too late.
Oh, loads of AKs from Sabuta here.
Mhm.
Loads.
Ragnar, you get a
That's
radar.
actually. They better not come up the hill. Oh boy.
It's alright, he's just wasting them.
We're actually gonna get a reservoir too. Just...
Flo is probably back player. I haven't seen him. Flag is doing air.
There's a lot of res bots.
Yeah, I think I
Energy
overdid it a little bit. Hmm.
Thank you.
I'm going front factory.
Same
I'll
here.
pump out, yeah, I'll pump out rocket bots.
Oh, sabotage coming from my lab.
Hmm. Okay, then I'm just gonna send everything your way then. Go for his con. Like this, just cast combat. Not sure if this is worth it.
Oh my god, fuck's sake.
Should be able to handle it, I think. Maybe.
How do I take myself out of like top screen? I feel locked.
Up, maybe?
Say that one more time, sorry.
Try to get him.
Oh, that's a problem. That's also a problem. Guess I get there in time. Actually, no, they will. Oh, they're really storming this hill now. I'm going fighters.
I'm getting combo. Fuck.
Okay, Adolf's got fighters now.
I'm done.
I got you two in the middle though. Yeah, you are go. I can share you Metal Master Bell.
Okay.
Just get it done out.
I was thinking I'd put out Sheldon's before I go for a con.
Yeah, no, go for it. I agree.
Yeah.
Like, we need T2 units out, so.
Wow, Stardom is wrecking it north. Nice.
Yeah, I can keep feeding you metal though. So let me just.
Okay.
I don't even know where my metal is going. Jesus.
Air transport detected.
Hmm.
Okay, Ragnar's got T2.
Low power.
And Dennis is
Okay.
All of this is juicy. Sorry, I don't have the brain power to micro them.
Nah, that's no problem.
Low power.
Okay, Bladelings.
Can you guys
Yeah, Bladelings incoming.
Battle
Yeah.
paused.
Hopping, 1 sec. Be fun. Okay, so I'm ready.
Ragnar, I'll share you 2 advanced solars. You don't need to build so much on your own.
Hmm.
Nice.
An allied commander has died. Warning, mines were detected.
Why can't I target these things? Oh, he's actually got units there.
An enemy commander has died.
Wait, I EMP them. No.
Blades mid.
I don't. That was expensive.
Yeah.
Metal extractor lost.
Okay, you guys have that in control, it looks like. I eco too soon.
Battle paused.
Sambo,
Uh-huh.
yeah.
we winning?
I think so.
Maybe.
Go south, yes. North got bombed by Adolf.
And Stardom did a really good job north as well.
Yeah, before even.
I'm not doing great mid, but I don't think they are either. So.
Yeah, man, I could still get a bear here in the mid, I think. But we'll see. It's already 22 minutes, so
22 minutes and what? There are 3.
man,
advantages.
usually it's. I mean, CJ probably. I don't know.
CJ got destroyed by Stardom.
Okay.
And Flo is not like that heavy with Picker, I don't think. And he was with a lot of fighters and everything. And Flo is their back player, so.
I feel like it might be T3 time, like just to get like
Yeah.
throw out a catapult or 2 and then go back to ecoing. Dunno. I might do that.
But it's a good, super strong against shocks as compensation of them.
That or but I'll let you decide.
If you already have the T2 with that left, then mix in some Shivas as well. Don't have to be much.
Again on the south.
That is a lot of T1 anti-air. Did they
Sheik's
just take
making a lot of
Sabotage?
Kiwis.
That's a lot of pyros.
A lot of pirates south.
Yeah. Maybe I don't think I have time for T3 though.
No.
No. Yeah.
Just make some defense.
I'm good.
Okay, that should be okay.
Fighters coming.
4.
Air incoming. Air, we need fighters. Yeah, okay, we got it. Well done.
Oh, wow. Well, they've seen the T3 now if they're with that flyover.
It's like an advanced explorer. Let's see.
South under attack. Does Damius need help? He might.
Yeah.
Fine.
I'll
Maybe not.
spam Shivas over there. He looks like he's got it under control.
There's attack nuke here.
Yeah, I'm trying to get that.
No, it's just still under construction. Okay, never mind. Okay, yeah, soft, needs soft.
Showed you the catapult in the back.
Sure thing.
You're overflowing metal.
Oh, nice. Beautiful.
No, what am I doing? Ah, stupid.
Blade wings here. There's so many fighters in the air in general here. Fighters mid.
I had already resigned most of them, so.
GG.
Yeah.
Top lane. Jump guys.
Ah, the catapult died.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, the high was just stupid.
Is that a bird from you started up that we're hearing?
Oh, what? A bird?
Yeah, the what's it called? The bird that sounds like a baby crying.
Not from me. No.
Might be from me.
I remember being down under and hearing that bird all the time.
You mean like a kookaburra?
Yeah,
I didn't hear it.
kookaburra.
Have you got a pet kookaburra master bell, or is it the one?
I don't have a cook. There aren't kookaburras here.
You're probably
There's
not even allowed to
usually a
have them
pigeon
set,
which
to be honest,
sits
so
right
yeah.
outside my window though.
Okay.
Okay, well played, guys. I didn't do too well.
It was a bit rough.
We hold middle and we had Aleph in the back and they had Flawless in the back. That was the difference in my opinion.
So this game I'm going to be focusing on ripping into myself. So to make any newer players feel better about what they don't know about the game, I'm going to spend the next 40 minutes to an hour trying to come up with everything I don't know about the game. So that's going to be fun. So we're also all in voice chat for this game, which was awesome. I think only Adolf wasn't, but yeah. We've got initial base. I think if you're Armada, wind is like marginally better on this map. But it takes a time cost. So it's a bit of a trade-off. I always go for Solus because it's simpler. And so if we just compare this, Shox is going for Solus. We could just do a comparison here. So we've built about the same amount of stuff. I don't think his commander's assisted his factory yet. And he has 48 energy income with wind at max, and I have 60. So this is the time advantage that you get when you build solars versus wind generators, which is why I don't build wind generators on this map. It's actually a pretty significant advantage. So I've got an extra, that's 48, that's 60. So that will finish in a second, and he'll have a little less than 60 energy per second. So it's not a huge difference, but it is a difference. And I tend to want to get my commander out to the front line as soon as possible. Looks like he also idled his commander a bit, so I might have to do that comparison another time just to make sure the difference wasn't in his idling. But if we look at the build times, you have to build... Pardon me. You have to build at least 2 wind turbines for each solar collector. And so we're going to see the wind turbine takes more than twice as long. Takes more than half. Sorry, my brain is stuttering over that. We've got 2,800 for 1 solar collector and 3,200 for 2 wind turbines. And so the solar collectors are going to definitely save you time here. And that's when wind's at its maximum, and it's not always going to be at its maximum. So that's why I prefer to build solars over wind generators as Cortex here. Since nothing much is really happening on my front, I'll just demonstrate this is the cost of attacking. So even if Sabotage has destroyed 1 unit per unit in this attack, or even better, Ragnar and Andre have all the reclaim here, so this has actually given them a significant advantage. Not only that, when you push forward into this, I don't know if Jazz Cash had any units up here. These all look like orange Sabotage Rex. But the other thing is, like, you're pushing into static defense, you're pushing into army potential commanders, and because it's all the way on this side of the map, this is where all their units are coming out of their factory. So, yeah. And so that's why I've thrown my units in here to assist. I've walked away from my base with my commander because I was out of metal. it would have probably been wise to leave one constructor at the factory, and I'd have had extra grunts on the front line. But looking at it, I'm also sort of okay with it. Because I do have some grunts on the front line. We have enough of an army advantage on the front line that I'm content with that. The game feels really dark for some reason. I don't know. I'm going to waste these by not paying attention. But we did have enough grunts from shocks that he could have moved forward and raided. So I do think it would have been wise to leave a constructor at the factory and maybe then build a new constructor and send the others over. And at this point I've got like 300 metal in storage, so it would have been very advantageous to do that. The other thing is I built this advanced solar too early, I think, because I've got a lot of build power that isn't building. I'd have rather maybe have a little bit of... Maybe. This is actually working out really well for me in terms of energy production. Only one LLT is risky. Yes, true. But given that I've been just going with the sum of our advantage, I've scouted shocks earlier to know how far back he is on the front line, and I did have a radar, so I know exactly how much space I've got. But I do generally aim to go for 2 laser towers on the front line. It was definitely too early for this nano turret though, because I'm going to energy stall in a second. I remember that. Especially because I've put up another nano turret on the front line. And another reason why it may have been too early is if we see how much energy I've got in storage now, how I'm stalling energy and how much metal I have in storage, it would have been very advantageous for me to just build a... maybe rather than building that, I could have actually gone straight for the nano turret, build like another 6 basic solars, and then upgraded, and then gone for another nano turret and advanced solars or something like that. Because I have too many nano turrets now. I think I was too slow to go for this hill, because what happens later is they get like cannons and stuff on this hill that take out this forward base here. In order to secure this forward base here, I really need to secure this hill. Was said not to build advanced solar cost efficiency. Advanced solars are more cost efficient than basic solars, but you just need excess energy to get there, because they cost a lot of energy, and basic solars don't cost any energy. Advanced solar fusion, they're actually pretty comparable in terms of production. Okay, what happens here? Because this is fine now, and I've got the thing. It's too early to build this cannon, because he's still got his commander on this hill. And at, like, worst case scenario, he cloaks his commander, or he even doesn't have to cloak his commander, probably. He walks his commander over here, brings it up in this line, and then he can walk right up to that laser tower and degun it. He's got too much health for that, but assuming he was able to repair it or something, that's what he could do. Yeah, I cancel that because it's too early. I know he's building turrets up there. And I've stopped building units. I don't think I should have stopped building units. Rather, I should have built enough units to push him off here. And then once I've got enough units to push up here, then I can reclaim any excess that I might have. As it turns out, this double laser tower doesn't really achieve anything. It would have had to be on the side of the slope to achieve anything. So I probably should have built like first laser tower here, second laser tower closer to the edge, third laser tower on the edge. That will start to stop things coming up, and then I can start building other defenses along the edge now that he can't just walk up and degun or hit with like the shelter of the edge. Part of the problem here is I don't have line of sight, but yeah, the problem is I don't have line of sight, but he's also down a hill, so that's a problem. It would have been really useful to get out a res bot to get some of this reclaim here on the front line first, and then just clean up these. I do put out another T1 factory here to try to deal with this. If I'd have paid more attention to the state of this front, I don't think I'd have stopped building units at all, to be honest. Yeah, and then I lose this hill, and I've got no units to defend it. I did have like another 2 laser turrets up there which could have helped, but that wouldn't have done much, to be honest. And I really should be rushing to rebuild these metal extractors. I take too long in that, and that's a ton of metal production that I just leave. Idling the air factory, the build bar widget. I don't know if I've got that on. Build bar. Okay, I do have that on, and so that'll let me know when I've got a factory that's idle. It should, at least. Given the army composition on the front, I know, or I believe I know at this point that he has very little heavy units. This second heavy laser tower wasn't useful. 1 is enough, and then just basic laser towers are enough from there. I could have also paid a little more attention to my energy production so that I didn't excess for so long. Let's just look at our excess on the team. We've got about 60,000 energy access on the team, which could have been capitalized on earlier by someone to produce around 1,000 extra metal for the team, because the conversion ratio is 70-1 at T1. So that would have been awesome. I also don't see this. It wasn't pinged. It wasn't chat, and because I'm busy on the front line, I just don't see. Another thing I do, we just see is I've just reclaimed a factory, and I don't have storage. So I've lost an amount of resources that could have been spent on getting this Tech 2 factory up faster. But that's alright. I have a feeling what I build at T2 is going to be worse. Is not going to be great. Another thing, I've got this mechs right here that if I'd have pushed my defenses forward a little, I could have secured that. And then once I've secured that, maybe even move forward and secure this. Then I can like reclaim some of the defenses back here, just have the defensive line moved forward, and of course, it may be wise to wait till T2 to retake this hill, but I don't know. Also looks like I'm really, really seriously behind in terms of eco based on this here. And that's probably part of why I lose the hill. He has a full 3 T2 maxes under fusion, which I probably would have had the time to put up if I'd have used this constructor, because building the maxes would have given me the extra metal required to build that fusion there. And but what I'll do is I'll push out the front line here. First unit out should have been the radar bot, I think. Or maybe second unit out. Because I can't see what I'm trying to fire at over here. And really should have put out that radar bot. Yeah, and he finally pings me on the front line and I see it. If your frontline guy isn't seeing something you've got in your base, always ping their front line, because that's where they're looking. I never look back here, because I said it and I forget it. I don't want to build anything back here, because I want all my resources invested on the front line so I can win front line. So I'm not going to pay attention to back here, and if I don't see the "you have received new units," I'm not going to see it. I will see a ping on my front line, and I won't miss that. I definitely could have used more energy production before going to T2, though. Probably another 4 advanced solars or something. How many do I have? I've got 8. Yeah, maybe go for something like 12 or something like that would be a bet. When I go Tech 2, usually lots have T1 units alive. It depends. It really depends on the situation. In this situation, I've gone T2 with static defense because I know I can get away with that. Yeah, I'm really starving for energy, which is slowing me down. And I go for a fusion, but honestly, I'm only trying to use like 200 energy more than I'm producing, so it would have been better to say grab this constructor and just build another 2 advanced solars over here. Preferably I'd have left T1 constructor back here so that I could have thrown up stuff there. Fortunately, I've kind of caught up on the resources here because I've got myself 3 advanced mexes, while Shox only has 4. He does have the fusion and the gear and the converter, which is a huge energy production difference, but I don't. Damus is securing that, so I'm not going to get it. Yeah. I put out some constructors. But yeah, I desperately need the energy production. I'm going for the fusion now. And in order to get out the fusion, it would have been, yeah, reclaim the factory. This is good here. I shared those because I was really rusty with this game. What's that? You win being Tech 1 with outnumbered units against a guy who is T2. Or if you see him, T2 must be... Okay, it depends. I'll take a bit of time to answer that question. So there are a few considerations with that. I've just distracted myself because I've seen I've just put up this pop-up cannon. This is actually a really good time with it. I was worried that I put it out too early, but Shox is putting out Sheldons at the moment. So this is a really good time to start putting it up. Preferably I'd have been able to, say, take the hill and secure that, which I'd have been able to do if I'd have made use of this Tech 2 constructor earlier. But I don't have the it looks like I didn't have the resources to take the hill, and if I tried to fight the hill now, I would be at a very severe resource disadvantage compared to Shox, who is basically who I'm facing on the front line right now. So actually, yes, there was a question. Can you win being Tech 1 with outnumbered units? Yes, you can. It's difficult because when you're attacking into someone, you have a time constraint, and if they're about as good as you, it's really hard to expect that you're going to win it. The best you can maybe expect to win is to take over their T1 army and get a ton of reclaim for that and get a resource advantage and maybe probably take their thing to about here because they've got a commander and a ton of build power in their base. They can very easily throw up a line of static defense that would be really difficult for you to break through if cost efficiently. So the best you could probably ask for is to decimate this area, which is lightly defended apart from the units. That's not really an option for me though, because I have invested, let's see, I've got the front line here I've invested more in this static defense here than he has invested in this mobile army here. And there's partly a reason for that, partly because there's also units up here, but partly that's just actually kind of overkill, especially because I've got the nano turrets here. But I don't want to take a chance, and that's part of why I've over-invested in the front here. I don't want to take a chance because I've got a storage, I've got T2 extractor, I had a T2 factory up here. I don't want to take a chance with losing this, and so I don't want it to be that someone, say, Sabotage goes, it's like, oh, it's actually really lightly defended over here, I'm going to just throw my tanks over here and just roll through. If I wanted to, like, more securely defend this, because half of my defense here, or more than half of my defenses is these heavy laser towers. I really don't need these heavy laser towers. If I swapped those 2 heavy laser towers out for 2 twin guards, or even just one of them swapped it out for a twin guard, I'd save maybe just a bit less than 300 metal would be saved. And I would have more defensive capability against these grunts. I could even take out the twin guards and substitute them for laser towers and get a little bit more efficiency on that. So in some ways it's like Shox's army here is more advantageous. I actually don't know what sort of... I'm really bad with judging armies against defense. So I actually feel like this army would be enough to take out this defense. But I also feel like that can't possibly be true because defense is supposed to be more efficient. And especially with my construction turrets here. So I'm not sure. But yeah, so in a 1v1, when you see someone go T2, what you're probably going to find is that if it's been roughly even and then you see T2, you can just kill him. And I actually played a game in a recent Balanced Annihilation tournament where that's exactly what happened. I was actually at a slight disadvantage. He went T2, and I took advantage of that and completely wiped him out. It was very, very close because he had the resource advantage. Yeah, it was very close because he had the resource advantage, but I was able to split my army more than he was. I had more of it. It was a slightly faster army because T1 tends to be a bit faster than T2 in terms of what units you build. I mean, I think Fiends are 83 speed against 84, so they're ever so slightly slower than Grunts. But in a team game, it changes the equation. Because if I stay T1 and push Shocks, and say all my okay, if all my allies go T1, we can't all push the same player, and we can't all push aggressively. Because they've had someone sitting in the back go T2, they have that, say, slight economic advantage, and he can, because the battle will be closer to their base, he will be able to get more involved than our Tekka back here. And so now we've got a pushing T1. We're at a player disadvantage. We're also at an eco disadvantage because their extra player is also the player with the most eco on their team. And so that's one more disadvantage. So we're going to be fighting an uphill battle. Third, by pushing really hard into it, especially if my team doesn't push really hard, I essentially take myself out of the game while achieving very little, because all his T2 allies are going to come in with their T2 army and completely wipe out my T1 army if my team doesn't respond. And usually when you attack, you'll be attacking into more units than you're defending. The defending force will be stronger than your attacking. Like, they will have more players defending than you will have players attacking. Partly because it's easier to coordinate defense than it is to coordinate attack, because you're responding. And while when you're attacking, you can't respond to one another. You have to act in sync. And so defending's easier to coordinate. It's closer to their base, so they've got more players involved in the battle at any one time. You're probably going to be fighting an uphill battle, and at the end of it, you're probably going to have wasted all your resources, and everyone on the team will be at a higher tech level than you, higher economy, and you've basically taken yourself out of the game. That's why it's generally better to eco up rather than attacking. Unless you see like a really easy opportunity to take advantage of. Like we've got this army here. This could very simply just come through and take out that stuff on the hill, get a couple extra mexes for cheap, and Mighty Sheep doesn't have an army to stop it. That would be awesome. We've got other opportunities here, like I built these Sheldon because Sheldon outrange everything on the front line, and so that's a nice simple opportunity that I can take advantage of to deal a ton of damage without taking any damage. And so it's like getting these slight advantages, and then once I've got a slight advantage, I can use it to make a bigger advantage, and then use that bigger advantage to make a huge advantage and win the game. But if you don't already have an advantage, you can't do anything more than incremental advantage like you can't get more than an incremental advantage, and you have to watch and be ready for those very incremental like early game. It's like you might be able to score one grunt, and that might be 10% of your army, and if you can score that one grunt, that can turn, like, that's out of position, then you can turn that into like actually winning the fight, because now you outnumber them 10-9, and then outnumbering them 10-9 will turn into outnumbering them 10-8, will turn into outnumbering them 9-6, will turn into outnumbering them 8-4, will turn into outnumbering them 6-0. It's like small advantages get very very big very quickly. Alright, let's get back to this. Yeah, so this T2 cannon looks alright. I would have really liked to have put it on the hill, so it may have been... It's kind of hard to tell, but it may have been worth saying to, like... Because I can't really push onto the hill based on what I've got here, but it may have been worth taking these Sheldons and pushing the hill rather than pushing mid, because then that gives me more of an ability to secure this entire area, both behind, keep this safe, otherwise I'm highly vulnerable, and that's a really big tactical disadvantage to lose that. So I think I should have pushed the hill rather than pushing that mid position. Maybe just take out that as I did, because that was a bit too forward. But then leave these guys over here and come push this hill. Maybe even not build this cannon until after I've pushed the hill. Who's doing that? Where's the mouse? That's Asbit. Let's just mute him. Alright. Those map marks are gone. But this cannon goes a really long way to securing this area. And we're seeing Shox actually do something that's a really good thing to do. He's reclaiming his Tech 1 units that he knows can't be ever used. It may have been a really good idea for me to put out like a spy before I reclaimed my Tech 1 factory, though it may have been too early at the point that I still had that factory. But this has actually done a bunch of stuff. It's taken out at least 2 Sheldons, it's severely damaged them, it's kept them off my front, and it's taken out a bunch of metal extractors and opened up this front a bit. A radar jammer would have been a really good next step over here, although they can always just Juno it or scout it out. It actually, let's just see. Rather than building a Juno, because a Juno is like 660 energy, metal, and then it's like you have to wait for it to load and then fire. We have... Oh, we only have 780 line of sight on that tower. What do we have on the Armada? 820. Okay, that's a big difference. If I could have kept a radar bot at this, then I could have used that to provide line of sight for the cannon. That would have even been better than this, because if I'd have just... I did build a radar bot earlier. I don't know what happened to it. Okay, it's over here on the hill. But because that can see about as far as the Sheldons can. Actually, yeah, it can see significantly longer than the Sheldons can, and even longer than the Sheldons can fire, and it can see longer than a sniper can fire. I could have put that right, say, behind the cannon, and that would have provided enough line of sight. It wouldn't be ideal. It wouldn't be ideal because again, then I can't necessarily see them until they're in line of sight, so... And I don't want to stand it too far in front of the cannon, because then it could just get sniped. Pardon me. So getting a spy out would probably be the preferable thing to do. So rather than going second fusion, throw out a spy, and then I don't need to worry about Juno yet. Yeah. Or even if I could have just put out some perimeter cameras. Yeah, if I could have put out a line of perimeter cameras, that would have worked. I think that's what I'd want to do next time, if I can. Once I've secured the territory with the cannon, then I can just put out a bunch of perimeter cameras. And that can work, on because they're also really cheap. They're like 32 each. Yeah. I'm just thinking, I mean, because that's gonna start firing, they're going to scout over it. At this point, I probably should have got rid of my heavy laser towers. I've already got a range thing to keep down the range, and so get rid of them. That's another 1,000 metal that I could have in storage. Sun must be coming up. The sun's been up for a couple hours now. But yeah, there are birds around. It's around 20 past 7 here. In the state of Queensland, Australia. Yeah. Yeah, it's summer, so the sun's like up somewhere around 5 a.m. So, not much is really happening, and it isn't kind of really changing. This tac nuke could at the very least have been built further over here, so that it's outside of the range, but I built it like just in range, on overshooting range of the Cerberus, so that's basically a death sentence and a bunch of wasted resources right there. Because not only did I build that, I spent like a few hundred metal trying to load it. And I queue up a bunch of nanos again in the range. Those construction turrets should have been queued up outside the range. I never used that Juno either. I don't know if it ever loaded. It probably would have been wise to secure this, like, talking about securing the hill, I think next time I'll secure the hill before I go and eco and build that advanced fusion. Yeah, I'm curious what they're talking about in chat here. Whoever's spamming the lines, please stop. This is not a bad game, actually. Yeah. As they thought, balance with high skill players is not affected. They're all good. Yeah, I mean, none of us are doing the crazy unit spam that had been complained about. Yeah, it's interesting, all these considerations. I think we need to have more of these high skill only games and learn from them, because one of the big things I've been saying for a really long time about balance is it's really hard to know about the quality of balance and stuff, because we've got mixed skill games where it's like the pros are just going to exploit anything that new players struggle with, that new players are just not going to be able to respond to. This Doomsday Machine is probably unwise. Probably a lot more preferable to have brought my Freaker back tier where I've got my build power and start producing Fiends. Yeah. Although they do have control over the front, but it would have been nice to have that. Also, if I could have built the Juno back here, because I always had energy share bar loath and conversion bar. Yeah, that was deliberate for a while, and I just had to find it again. So like after I've got this advanced fusion and I've actually got excess energy, I was like, right, I need to start actually converting it. But that's alright. I don't mind it going to team if team's using it. Especially in a game like this, where most people on the team will use it about as well as I will. Yeah. Yeah, this Doomsday Machine, A, took too long to build. B, I don't think it really ever did much. I'm also thinking that right now would be a really good time to start going for Tech 3. We've got enough on the front line. Maybe not, because we can still, like, even with all this anti-air, you've still got a huge leeway to, like, run a line of bombers through and kind of do a loop bombing run. So do we have any bombers? But yeah, kind of like drop the bombs along the line of units. And if you like fly through that way, it means that you don't risk overflying and hitting, spending too much time in the range of the anti-air. But it also means that when you fly down this way, as many of the bombs are going to hit multiple units as possible, so you need fewer bombers to do the damage. And so when it starts lining up like this on the front line, there's like a brief window where bombers are like a really good option for doing a huge amount of damage on the front line. I think it's pretty clear though at this point that our team has won. We've got a significant eco advantage. I'm putting out more blade wings in case they try to push through, and then otherwise going for a Tech 3 factory, because that was my thought exactly. Just then looking at their army composition, it's like, oh, it's like Karganis would be like an amazing unit against these fiends. And then maybe a catapult, like a single catapult to deal with any Sheldons that come through, and then that'll just that'll allow us to take out this on the hill, and then just kind of roll through them. Yeah, Blade Wings were definitely a good choice there, even though they've got all that anti-air, because it means any quick run like this just gets shut down. And if they want to like hang back and stay safe and wait for those anti-air, well, that's going to give time for the swarm of ally units to come in. And I figured that ally had enough units that I was safe to not produce really any of my own, and the Blade Wings would be kind of enough. So that Doomsday Machine kind of was decent, but it's like, probably would have got a lot more. Music's on again. Why is music always on? How do I turn that off? It's because I thought I had turned it off. Audio. Let's just turn all that off, and that's probably enough. But we also wanted to turn music player off there, and there's no like one switch to just turn music off. We can turn the volume off. Yeah, it would be really nice to just have a single master switch, no music, which gets rid of the player, which gets rid of all of that sort of stuff. Which turns off the volume and gets rid of, because it's like you can't just turn it off in one switch. Yeah. Yeah, so we've got Rosebots covering the front line. I've got a T2 con here, which after he's done this factory can start building T2 mexes again on the front line, so that's okay. I've gone for this other advanced fusion here, which I guess I've got all these resources in storage, so I might as well use those construction turrets. At this point, once you've got like 2 construction turrets, it's actually significantly faster to only have one constructor building them, because otherwise you spend too long adjusting, like waiting for all the constructors to walk out of the range of these turrets that you're building. That one was pretty fast, though some have taken a really long time. There's something weird going on with the constructors though. because it's like they take a really, really long time to realize they're in the road, and then a long time to start building and stuff like that. It's like, what is that? That needs to be bug reported. I do build Shiva here, and Shiva do have a high damage output and area of effect over Karganath. Which one's faster? The Shiva's faster, okay. I think the Shiva's also technically longer range. And because I've got these blade wings and he didn't have anti-air, it's fine. I don't have to worry about, whether, let's turn this sound down a bit. I don't have to worry about whether I'm missing the units because they're all immobilized anyway. The only thing that I would be more concerned about is that I can't necessarily hit the hill, but I'm also dealing with a choke point here, so I don't there's not too much of an issue. Is it the same when you only use one con? I think it's better when you use a single constructor. Yeah. Yeah, Karganath would have enabled me to walk up onto this hill, and also it would have left me less scared of once I walk into here just getting surrounded. I'd have potentially been able to walk straight up onto this hill. So I think Karganath would have been a better option. Some sort of radar bot or something to go with it as well could have been good, but there was a radar jammer there, so that's not too much. And it probably would have been worth it to follow up the Shiva once they break the front line. Just follow it up with Fiends or something which can just run through quickly and take out the back line. And that's probably what I should have built rather than continuing to eco, because I've got this advantage here. I want to make it as big as possible, as fast as possible. I mean, I don't really know that they don't have units coming, because Petak's spending very little resources on this front. He's all reinvesting back into eco, so, and given that he has a larger eco than me, there's probably not too much I could have done against him if he really wanted to keep me out. And like, not only is he reinvesting most back into eco, he's also accessing despite everything happening there. But North is also broken through, so that should be enough of a signal to go. It's like, right, just put out anything that's fast. Which I do. I go for fighters. Is so that potentially I can eat away at their fighter screen and then maybe bomb or something. I don't know. I had a specific thing in mind when I went for fighters. Oh, probably concerned about all the gunships they have out or something. But yeah, the game's pretty much over at this point. Hey Floris. Hey Belson. Yeah, good morning. We have UK and... Actually, it's not UK, it's Netherlands, I believe, for Floris. Is that right? And then America and Australia. So, like, all three parts of the world. But the game's pretty much over at this point, so I'll just kind of speed it up. That's funny. Seeing a nuke this late at the game and this high caliber of... Like, then the anti-nuke goes up. It's a bit late for that. GG.